Washington Huskies, they're heading over to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes for the first time in a regular season matchup since 1964. And since that regular season matchup in 1964, they've played them 3 different times. Twice in the Rose Bowl, and the last time in the 1995 Sun Bowl, where the Washington Huskies lost to the Iowa Hawkeyes 38-18. Is this a revenge game? Kidding. But the thing is here, this is an actual trip to Iowa, which we're going to have to get used to now that we're in the Big Ten. This wasn't a thing for the Washington Huskies going to Iowa to play the Hawkeyes, but now we have to get used to it. So this is going to be a huge game, Big Ten matchup between the Washington Huskies and the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, guys, so we have 3 keys to this game for the Washington Huskies if they want to go into Iowa City and beat the Hawkeyes in their ground in a Big Ten matchup. And probably so far I wouldn't say hardest Big Ten matchup, but the Big Ten matchup to me that is the hardest one on the road so far. We're going to have other ones that are going to be hard on the road. We're going to Penn State. I think in general, Oregon, but Oregon we're used to. It's a former Pac-12 school, and it's going to take us it's going to take me at least a year to start getting used to saying Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten. But now, here we are. So let's talk about the 3 keys to the game that I think is going to propel the Huskies to hopefully a victory in Iowa. This team that is now 4-2 could easily, in my opinion, be 6-0. We have 2 losses by a total of 8 points. We all know the story. 4th down against Washington State, plus a ton of penalties. And we know the thing in Rutgers. We missed a game-tying field goal. We missed 3 total field goals. We had a lot of dumb penalties that kept Rutgers in the game and propelled us to a loss. We could easily be 6-0. In that game against Michigan, everything seemed like it was coming together for the Huskies. Hopefully we can take that momentum into Iowa and beat the Hawkeyes. So let's start off with the 3 keys. And the first key is Will Rogers versus the Iowa defense. We all know Iowa has a reputation of being an elite defense and not the best offense. Well, Rogers, he's been super efficient this season. 12 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 74% completion percentage. He's also been one of the most effective quarterbacks in college football in big plays. But despite Iowa's huge reputation on being a great defense, let's take a look at the bigger and deeper picture. Last week, Ohio State came in, and I'm not saying we're Ohio State, but they came in with their quarterback, Will Howard, and he carved them up and went 21 for 25. And, well, Ohio State beat Iowa. If the Dogs win this game, they'll need Rodgers to have an efficient game, an efficient performance, and put up some points against the stout Iowa defense. Key number 2, the 2 differences I want to call it in penalties. So we've watched the Huskies this season. We've had a lot of penalties, a lot of dumb penalties. The game against Wazoo, I think we had almost 130 or more penalty yards. Against Rutgers, we had one of the dumbest penalties I've ever seen. 12 men on the field after blocking a field goal, and not because there was 12 men on the field we blocked it, because a guy ran on the field to celebrate him and ran back off. We got a penalty, resulted in a 7-point swing. We can't have those penalties against Iowa. But Iowa is completely different than UW when it comes to penalties and when it comes to being a disciplined team. The Hawkeyes lead the nation in the fewest penalties so far this whole entire season, with 12 penalties total. That accounts to 2.4 penalties per game. And they only have 100 penalty yards all season. If the Huskies want to win this game against Iowa, they need to stay disciplined, match Iowa's discipline, and make sure we don't have dumb penalties. And to me, dumb penalties is one of those things I just can't handle. I can't handle watching a game where teams are doing dumb stuff. It makes me want to pull my hair out. The Huskies have done that to me a few times this year where I'm like, God, I just want to pull my hair out due to the absolute lack of focus, lack of penalties. So hopefully we can get that handled and go into Iowa, be disciplined, win the turnover battle as well, and make sure that we're a team that can, finish plays, not give them 15 yards here, 15 yards there, keep the field position in our favor. It's going to be a rough and rowdy game. This is Iowa. This is a Big Ten game, so we really need to be careful. And last but not least, my third key to the game is careful in close games. The Huskies have played 2 games that are considered one-score game. I guess you can kind of say Michigan was a close game. It ended up being 10 points, but it didn't finish up as a one-score game. The Hawkeyes play a ton of close games. They're used to it. They have played 7 games since the start of last season that resulted in 1 score or less since the start of a 2023 season. During those games, they're 5-2 in those close games. We know the Huskies. The Huskies have played 2 one-score games this year, and during those one-score games, the Huskies are 0-2. They lost by 5 versus the Washington State Cougars, and they lost by 3 against Rutgers. If we're going to win this game, I believe it's going to be a close game. It could be a one-score game, so we have to make sure we execute at the end of the games when it matters. Now, before we get to the prediction of the game and what I think is going to be the final score, I do want to mention to you guys the Rebet app. Rebet is the only way in Washington State where you can actually bet on games. Yes, using just this, your mobile phone. The Rebet app is available in 46 out of 50 states, including Washington. And if you use promo code ONTAP, you'll be able to get a deposit match up to $100 US. And how does it work? Well, they call it a sweepstakes model, but it really is betting on games, futures, and player props. If you put in, let's say, $50 of Rebet cash, you use that Rebet cash to bet on games. So if you win $50 of Rebet cash, you can actually convert it back into actual USD, US dollars, and deposit it into your account. And that way, you can bet on multiple games, multiple spreads, money lines, spreads, whatever you like. But make sure you use promo code ONTAP when signing up to that. And let's bet on the Washington Huskies on this one, +4 versus Iowa on the road. All right, guys, we're back with the prediction for the game. I know I am a Husky homer. I went to the University of Washington, and this is a Seattle sports channel. So my final prediction for this game is the Washington Huskies are going to Iowa. It's going to be a tough game. We might have to come back. It's not going to be easy, but the Washington Huskies are going to win their first one-score game of the season and beat the Iowa Hawkeyes 24-17 in what's going to be a thrilling game, 9 a.m. game in Iowa City, 9 a.m. Pacific time here, 12 o'clock in Iowa. And I really believe the Huskies are going to be able to get it done. I feel like we're coming on now. The 2 losses we had were kind of fluke losses. And as long as we keep, as I said, the 3 keys of the game, penalties down, Will Rogers efficient, and execute at the end of a one-score game, the Washington Huskies will come out on top, go to 5-2, and I think get it to the point in the season where if they go 5-2, 6-2, all of a sudden we're back to being a ranked team. And I mean, I'm not saying we're going to do it, but if we run the table, we're in a conversation for the college football playoffs. So that's my prediction, 24-17, Washington Huskies over Iowa. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Sports on Tap Seattle. My name is George on Tap. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below. What is your prediction for the Washington Huskies versus Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa this Saturday? We'll probably see you back late after the game. I'll probably do a post-game rant about it. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.